Today, Randy and I find ourselves snowshoeing into Dolly Sods. We're currently making about a 3-mile trek up the forest road to get to the trailhead, because the roads are either gated off or the parking areas don't allow night parking. So, got ourselves a little snowshoe action. Yeah. We're fully loaded out. I'm currently blowing out of my pack. I don't have an inch of space for anything else. We're actually supposed to come last week, over 3 days. We planned more than a month in advance. And it just so happened to end up being the exact time the polar vortex was hitting. We were looking at highs of 0 and lows in the negative teens with wind gusts into like negative 20, negative 30, and just some pretty crazy Arctic conditions. We actually did a little Googling, and a number of the national parks in Canada were warmer. So we unfortunately wimped out. So we're here. We're getting toward the top of the forest road and starting to look a little more wintry up here.
Ah, home sweet home.
Man, these conditions are just awesome. Snow everywhere on everything.
Riley and I just snowshoed maybe 3 miles or so up a hill, only to find that there's children laughing as they descend from the top of the ski lift over in Canaan Valley, which is it's a humbling sound, to be frank.
Who would have thought? Randy's hiding in the woods filming children. Man, this is really some prime snowshoeing trails. Such a blast. Don't you worry, there's plenty more. Oh my God. Sleeping pad, tent, they're all catching on everything. Snowshoes, almost tripping. Just want to get to some nice open ground where I can move. Hopefully the tent on top of my pack isn't ripped to shreds by the time I get to camp. I guess I'll be sleeping in a snow cave then, maybe. For the majority of this hike, Randy and I had been following some tracked in stuff. We were excited to get past those tracks, but now we're learning why the tracks ended. This is the point where no one else wanted to go. We're snowshoeing in riverbeds and got a bunch of brush bent over the trail, playing limbo to get through it, getting covered in snow. This is what makes camp worth it. Randy's got to climb above waist height with snowshoes on.
I don't even know if I can.
Just got to push it down. There he goes, up and over.
Finally getting our first glimpse of the open northern sods. Now we're cruising. No idea where the trail is, but at least it's manageable walking. Ripping down my spine.
These conditions right here are exactly what Randy and I came here for. There's only one thing missing, a sled.
Like Riley was saying, it's a shame that we didn't get to come out here and really test ourselves last week during the sub-zero temperatures. Prove the doubters wrong, which includes ourselves, by the way. But I am now very okay with it because this is a lot of fun. Unfortunately, Mitch couldn't make it this week. He was only available last week, so we had to sub out a friend for good weather. But unfortunately, his sacrifice was extremely worthwhile because this is a lot of fun. Got my tent all set up, and I am waiting on the notoriously longer taking Riley to finish with his setup so that we can begin setting up campfire habitat for the night. Defrosting my feet right now in these lovely booties.
May be a little chilly and breezy, but this fire's giving us just what we need to eat some dinner in comfort.
Yeah. It's warm. It's toasty. Food's good.
Got my soup concoction in there. Good morning. It's the beginning of day 2. I had plans to sleep in today, but once I woke up, I just got excited by all the snow around me and decided I couldn't sleep anymore. So I had to get dressed and get going. Gotta say, it was a nice night. According to my thermometer, I only got down to 21 degrees.
Good morning. It's a crispy morning out here. But last night was toasty warm. This bag did great, and now I don't want to leave it. Riley's outside building snow walls for our fire pit this evening, like a true friend. That's why you bring somebody like him, so that I can stay in here in my bag and munch on breakfast and drink coffee until I'm forced to get out of here.
Here's the little hole in the ice that we used to get our water. Last night I made the mistake of leaving my tea bag in my cup before I went to bed, and now it's frozen to the bottom, so I'm going to have to boil it to release it. Randy and I are eating a second breakfast at each of our tents in preparation for our day hike. One of the great things about hiking the snow is leftovers. I didn't finish my soup last night. I left it in the pot. It froze. I just threw it on the stove this morning, thawed it out, heated it up, and it's good to go. It's a good breakfast.
Snowshoes are back on. And we're doing a little day hike to get to where we originally thought we were going to get to last night, but once we came upon the campsite that we ultimately stayed at, and we realized we only had about an hour of daylight left, we needed to just make camp. So we're hopefully going to get to the forks and see some nice frozen waterfalls. It's turning out to be a very nice day. Blue skies, a little windy, but so far so good.
All this snow is really nice, but there is a downside to it when it pulls all the branches down. Now we get to walk through it. Oh. I think I took the brunt of it for Randy.
Yeah, Riley brought a freestanding tent, so...
A non-freestanding tent.
Oh, sorry. A non-freestanding tent. So his poles are currently holding his tent up.
So now I can't.
So I do have an advantage currently.
This is a moment where I really wish I had some skis, but I'm going to use my snowshoes as skis to the best that I can. Made it to our intended destination. This is where we originally planned on camping. And as you can see, or maybe not, it is a very nice place, but all that in front of you is Red Creek, but it's covered in snow. We were hoping for nice flowing water and pretty views and frozen waterfalls, but it's so snowed over and so frozen, there's really not a lot to see. And there is a breeze in some areas here too, so it's actually made us feel a little better about stopping short.
All of a sudden, my number one concern is getting sunburnt. It's like we're sitting on a beach, which is funny because that's kind of how this campsite acts in the warmer months, because you're right on the creek and you can just take a little swim and it's a great time. But now it's currently totally frozen over, but somehow Dolly Sods still wants us to have that beach feel because that sun is shining.
We've made it back to camp. Now it's time to collect some wood and finish working on our snow wall for our fire pit. I'll show you around real quick. So there's my tent just ahead. Randy's, as you already saw. We got a nice creek back behind it where we get our water. Back over here, it's the fire pit. You know, it's already a little breezy through here, but it's supposed to be good gusts tonight. We started some of the work earlier today. Definitely got to get the walls higher, but we got our fire pit in there. These snow walls, we got to bring up that one to probably about 4 feet because that's where most of the winds are coming from. But this is where we're going to be hanging out tonight, keeping warm.
Probably mention that as I unsheathed my saw, that we are only using those to process dead wood that is on the ground. Certainly are not cutting down any of the beautiful trees in the Dolly Sods wilderness. We would not be so pathetic.
The sun's beginning to set, so now it's time to get a fire lit and start cooking dinner. Also, you can see I took a stick to the face today when going through all that brush. Put it on because it'll burn in half. So right here, I got some spruce resin that I've melted down with the fire, and I cut my finger earlier. And it's been bleeding and not stopping, so I melt that down. It's probably a little hot, and I'm sealing it up. I got like a flap of skin there that seal up. I'm getting blood all over stuff, so hopefully that seals it up. Feels good. And it smells great. So in the pine trees above me, there's tons of snow collected in the branches, like big hunks that are probably, you know, like 2 feet by 3 feet, 6 inches thick, stuff like that, just hanging in the trees. And they've been up there pretty secure but the wind's picking up, and every now and then I'll hear like a chunk of snow hit my tent. Not nearly that big. I'd assume like the size of a snowball, but I'm just waiting for one of those big ones to fall down and just rip through my tent and smack me, and I'm really hoping that doesn't happen.
All right. Morning of day 3. It was a quick pack up this morning as we're trying to get out of here in decent time. But it's another beautiful day. Blue skies, it's awesome. This week for us has really paid off. It's been a happy, good time. We'll have to come back. Snowshoeing, as it turns out, is a fun way to experience the winter wonderland wilderness. We're out here in the northern sods again on the way back to the car, and you can tell the wind it's moving. It's actually a pretty entertaining and fun effect when you're hiking uphill and sweating, and it feels nice compared to how much of an enemy it can be.
Speaking of the wind, you can take last night for an example. We built up, like 3-foot snow walls pretty much all around our fire pit, thinking, we're going to block these increased winds, enjoy our fire. Instead, they still blocked it to a degree, but that fire was just very smoky, and the wind was continually shifting. We were just like smoke to the eyes, smoke to the face, embers on our clothing for 2.5 hours straight. We tolerated for a long time. I can't even explain it. It was just the most frustrating and annoying fire, worst fire I've ever had. I love fire. I almost could never say that about fire, but I kind of hated it.
Well, there you have it. We made it back to the truck. It was a nice coast downhill on a little packed-in forest road. So we made it out here in pretty good time. But all in all, big success. We had fun. We had a little challenge. Some really nice scenery and pretty decent snow conditions for what we were doing. So yeah, really everything came up chocolate milk season. Once again, we seem to be on a hot streak right now of completing most of our objectives. Let's hope that trend continues.
Like Randy said, it was a great trip. Couldn't really have asked for things to be better. And going into the sods in the winter was like unlocking a whole new world. It's I loved it, and I can't wait to get back out there. I think I'm all about the snow camping stuff.